Hello and welcome to another episode of Scott Reads Comics. Today I'll be offering an overview of Jim Starlin's storied, famous, and wonderful Warlock series, the original series which appeared in the 1970s and really launched Marvel's sort of trippy cosmic universe of heroes, villains, and other characters. It's an interesting and sort of weird history for this title. Jim Starlin, previous to this, in the earlier 70s, had worked on Captain Marvel and introduced Thanos in Iron Man number 55. And later on, he crossed over and obviously into Captain Marvel and the Avengers and became kind of a major villain. Although he hadn't yet risen to the heights of the Infinity Gauntlet saga. But these are sort of Thanos as a character in his nascent stages, and sort of running parallel to that is the character of Warlock, who I believe appeared originally as him in the Fantastic Four. He was created by the Enclave briefly and pretty thoroughly thrashed by Thor in a couple of issues of Thor, early issues where he tried to make Sif his girlfriend against her will because he was looking for a mate. Then he got involved on Counter-Earth with a High Evolutionary, and on the Counter-Earth storyline, he teamed up with the Hulk ultimately to defeat the Man-Beast, and was seen as almost a Christ-like savior to the people of Counter-Earth. But then he later went into space. He had his own title. I believe it went 8 issues and then was canceled. Starlin was not involved with those stories. But Strange Tales 179, I believe, is where Starlin picks the thread up, and that's where we come in with these reprints. Now, there's a number of ways to read or to find these stories and consume them. Obviously, there's digital, but I don't get involved with digital comics. There are collections. There's a pretty great trade paperback which collects all the Warlock stories. But I would suggest another route, and that route is dollar bins. You can find these incredible Baxter edition, Warlock special edition reprints that are on this gorgeous Baxter paper for $1 usually in most dollar bins. Sometimes you'll find them in $2 bins, whatever. They retailed for $2 in 1982, but they're apparently in the Pittsburgh area anyway, readily available. I built it's 6 issues, double sized, and I completed the entire Baxter collection through dollar bins, and they're incredible. Ides Comics right now has at least 30 copies of number 5 in their dollar bins. I have no idea why. There are smatterings of the other issues in there as well, but I actually went as a little game when I go through the dollar bins at Ides. If I come across an issue of Warlock Special Edition number 5, I will take it and put it in the drawer with all the other Warlock number 5s. So I've built like a half a drawer worth of Warlock number 5 down there for someone to find. Just a little game I play. So yeah, that is one option, dollar bin option for these Warlock stories. Another one is they were reprinted again in 1992 after the Infinity books came out, the Infinity Gauntlet with Starlin writing and Perez drawing. After that came out, they reprinted them again, and they're pretty much page for page exactly. I picked these two up, the 2 and 3. So we'll quickly look at 2. Here is the splash page for 2, the Baxter edition, and then this is the 1992 reprint. Now, these 1992 reprints aren't as nice, but they are not on glossy paper. They're on just a nice matte paper, which is great. High quality reproduction, no problem there. The thing about these is I think they're going to be easier for you to find in dollar bins in your area, because I think they're just not as rare as these older Baxter editions. I think you'll find them more easily. And you'll get all that weird, trippy, cosmic goodness, hopefully for $1 each, which is the going rate in most dollar bins, as the box says. They're all $1. So, Warlock Special Edition, number 1. I'm not going to read these all the way through. They're incredibly dense, and they're really best consumed, by yourself at your table or wherever you like to read a comic. I am going to go through them, though, and just kind of discuss some high points, I think. At least we'll do this number 1 issue. It's virtuoso work. I mean, it's as Jim Starlin was writer, artist, and colorist on much of it. A lot of these pages later on, the issues later on, I think he does everything on this one, but then in some cases the inking is done by Steve Leialoha, and I actually think it's better when Leialoha inks Starlin's pencils versus Starlin inking himself. His coloring is incredible. The colors are lush. Gorgeous. There's this great framing sequence, Who is Adam Warlock? And this weird alien basically tells the whole origin of Warlock, his development by the Enclave, coming from his chrysalis. And this is going to be interesting because I think we've seen this this chrysalis as an Easter egg in some of the Marvel movies, and I think Warlock is going to show up in Guardians 3, I believe. So even more reason to kind of hunt these down and look at the origin of the character. Here's his brief clash with Thor. Warlock needed a purpose in life, and fate decided to give it to him. How? By having his free-floating cocoon fall into the hands of a godlike being known as the High Evolutionary, creator of the New Men. So here he meets up with the High Evolutionary. There's the Man-Beast. And it goes over that conflict with Man-Beast. Here's his team up with the Hulk, where he is literally crucified in that story, and then rises again, Christ-like, and he devolves the Man-Beast into a wolf, which is cool. These long open panels are gorgeous, and just look at this stuff here. Like, this alien's talking. Who the hell is he? We don't know. There's this crazy creature wrapped around his leg. I mean, this stuff is just stunning in its imagination, and its scope, and its weirdness, sheer weirdness. Great editor's note here, which points you to all the stories that were discussed. Fantastic Four 66 to 67, Thor 165 to 166, Marvel Premiere 1 to 2, Warlock 1 to 8, Hulk 76 to 178. So try tracking those down and buying them in the original form. You're going to spend a lot of money. Those are primo back issues now. In finding them even in beat condition is tough. So then, after that preamble, letting us know Warlock's sort of convoluted early history, we come back to what is the present, essentially, and Chapter 2, Enter the Magus. Warlock shows up to save this woman, and she's being assailed by these members of the Universal Church, which is this crazy fascist religion which is sweeping across this part of the galaxy. The action, the panel arrangement is incredible. His storytelling is just probably unlike anything that was being done at that time in the 70s. And I think a lot of this comes from the fact that Jim Starlin's just doing this all himself. He's not interpreting the script from another writer. Everything is coming from him, even the colors in this early first issue. So he's unable to save her, and this kind of sets in motion a series of events. And notice, too, he does not have his trademark cape yet. That's coming. Here he uses his soul gem, and even at this point, he doesn't really know all the capabilities of the soul gem, but he starts to discover them through using it. It's incredibly powerful. It's a vampiric entity that literally sits on his forehead and tries to influence him to do bad things. Consume souls. And anyone consumed by the soul gem lives inside of it, and Warlock has access to all of their memories, thoughts, feelings, emotions. So he actually uses it to animate this dead body of this poor girl and poor woman, and he learns about the Universal Church, about its abominable teachings and activities, the torture that goes on. And the color in these sequences and the arrangement of these panels is just brilliant. I mean, look at this crazy troll-looking guy next to the matriarch here. Just incredible. The torture's going on. This red color really sets off the emotion and the pain that the church is inflicting on these people. And they're galaxy-wide. And then here, for the first time, we see the Magus. And the story, the overall story in this arc it's incredible. It's like a time loop. It becomes a weird time loop, and Warlock becomes trapped by his own fate. And it's just really, it's hard to wrap your mind around. You've almost got to read it and then compare stories from the previous issue to the final climax, and you see, oh my God, I can't believe Jim Starlin was able to kind of conceive this, execute it over many issues, and pull it off at the end. So another great use of an open panel here. I love this sort of kaleidoscopic view of all these different faces. There's a preview of death, and Warlock is seeing himself in the Magus. The secret of the Magus. Unfortunately, some secrets contain further mysteries within, so the onlooker must be wary. Such cosmic puzzles may hold the answers to life and death. Awesome how he's blasted out here into that open panel, just the figure. Is all clear now? Ha 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 ha. Yes, I do begin to understand, even though you sought to twist the truth. Then you understand why you must abandon your crusade against me. You cannot fight me. I am everything you are, plus all the things you hate. And that he means that literally. The Magus is a future version of Warlock. So Warlock, to stop the Magus, must kill himself ultimately, and that's what the story kind of runs into. So each one of these volumes collects, I think, 2 issues worth of story, which whatever the page count would have been at that time. No ads, obviously, which is great. So this one, I think this is the one where he gets his cape. I'm not sure. Maybe not. Maybe it's the next issue. But yeah, it's so awesome. I mean, look at this figure work. It's just tremendous. Glennis Starlin's not doing the colors on this one, but he's doing everything else. Editor Len Wein, letterer Tom Orzechowski, colorist Glennis Oliver Wein, finisher Jim Starlin. So he does everything else. So Lealoha hasn't shown up on the scene yet as inker. And if you look at this, this story is building, and here he meets Captain Autolycus, who is his antagonist in this issue, almost his physical match. Warlock is a pretty formidable physical cosmic being. I mean, according to the Marvel Universe, he can lift press 40 tons. He can fly in space. He is highly resistant to injury. He is practically immortal. And he, of course, then has the Soul Gem, which is like a Swiss Army knife of cosmic devices. He can basically use it to do almost anything. But it is a terrible soul-sucking vampire, as we mentioned earlier. So there's a downside to that. And here we have Pip the Troll. This is a first appearance of Pip the Troll, who will become his boon companion for the remainder of his life and the subsequent lives that will follow, as we'll see if we explore Warlock's storied career further. Here's the matriarch. Look at the beautiful, sort of languid figure work here of this woman who's in charge of one of the most powerful organizations in the galaxy. Autolycus has his orders. He's to destroy Warlock. These quote-unquote freaks who are hidden in the bowels of Autolycus' ship want Warlock to lead them. And he doesn't. He throughout this series, he chafes against authority and against his own destiny. And he does not want the mantle of leadership. He left Counter-Earth because he did not want to be the savior there, even though he was. So he is in constant emotional agony throughout this series, and it's very well done. In you can see it in stages as he learns more about the terrible things he must do to prevent cosmic calamity. Really incredible sequence of small panels on this page that do a lot of storytelling with no dialogue. Totally awesome as Warlock is basically going through and taking out this whole crew. And then he has an epic fight with Autolycus. And it's page arrangements and panel arrangements like this are throughout the series. They color the whole series, and they just make it a brilliant presentation and a joy to read. You never know what you're going to get when you turn the page here. Look at this. Look at this 3-panel sequence here. After this kind of weird, strange page arrangement, we turn the page and we get these 3 amazing panels that make up this next page. The tide of the battle had changed. I knew I would survive. As powerful as my enemy was, he couldn't equal my star-spawned strength. Strangely, I had no real hatred for this man. I battled. The truth is, I rather admired his disciplined arrogance. I wished fate had not forced us to be enemies. Maybe that was why I didn't rush in immediately to finish Autolycus, giving him time to... Awesome sequence as he throws a piece of equipment at Warlock. I was stunned, off balance. I realized Autolycus had his pistol out. A pistol I was sure contained enough charge to slay even one such as I. Autolycus would not miss. I knew I had lost. I was about to die. And that's when the soul gem basically forces him into a terrible choice to basically take Autolycus' soul. My mind exploded at that moment. Image upon sensation upon thought cascaded in my pitiful brain. But these were not the random hallucinations of madness. No, no, no. This was Autolycus. This was the entire life passing into my mind's eye. Before me lay his every thought, deed, experience, and emotion. I then mercifully passed out. When consciousness returned, a chill like death lay upon me, for all was now clear as Autolycus' body, which sprawled before me, no longer alive, but neither truly dead. Just an incredible color work here by Glynis Oliver, just awesome. And this sequence above of the life of Autolycus sort of filtering through Warlock's consciousness. Just tremendous. And the crackle on these panels as he summons the power of the soul gem. It's just so good. It's so good. And terrible, too. I mean, this guy's like in a living death now as Warlock now claims his soul. And again, the freaks ask, but why would you not lead us before? For the same reason I'll not lead you now. Each of you is a leader within himself. Fools allow others to rule them. Wise men rule themselves. So throughout this cosmic joyride that Warlock is in these 6 oversized issues, you're going to get a lot of Jim Starlin's personal philosophy sort of filtering through here. And it's cool. He was obviously doing some deep thinking during the 70s, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it's great stuff. And here, Starlin has some fun here by mixing up the letters in his first and last name to create different people involved, but it's all Jim Starlin here. So pretty cool. It looks like he does everything on this one except for lettering, or Zukowski letters it. And more storytelling devices here. We have a long panel with some paragraphs of expository text, and then beside it we have just a sequence of discrete panels showing the action, recapping what's gone before, and then this. So now what? Here I sit upon a hostile world, allied with only a vampire gem and a slightly depraved troll. It's just so awesome. And here Warlock shows that the soul gem can also just release blasts of energy, not just suck people's souls. and no one's going to mess with Pip here. But then again, these are the Black Knights of the Universal Church, so Warlock disposes of them in his awesome fighting style here with kicks and punches. And Pip is just sort of looking on. And there's the matriarch in another one of her amazing gowns. The sort of the trippy future fashion that Starlin infuses on his characters, the attire is just amazing too. There's really no aspect of this endeavor that isn't gobsmackingly good. It's pretty incredible. So he tries to reject the soul gem here and realizes he can't. It's bound to him. If he takes it off, he will die. And he doesn't, he can't do that yet. Boy, oh boy, did you scare the blank out of me. You okay now, Goldie? No, Pip. I'm afraid I may never be all right, ever again. I had long suspected the gem might contain some type of alien intelligence, but I never dreamed how shrewd it might be. It must have guessed that if I ever learned of its ghastly appetites, I would destroy it. So all the years I've worn the gem, it's been slowly and subtly sucking my soul into itself, until I am nothing but a hollow shell, dependent on it for life itself. Separated from the gem, I am like a puppet with its strings cut. In other words, that gem has become my life force, and I, its prisoner. So there it is, spelled out for us. He's stuck with the gem. So he's going to try to take the battle to the Universal Church, and he confronts the matriarch, and she lays a trap for him. And in the next issue, it's going to get really weird. So this was trippy and cool, but issue 2 cranks it up to 11 and breaks the knob off. And that's where we'll stop for today. If you like this episode, please like and subscribe, tell your friends, share the video, and I'll bring you more soon on Scott Reads Comics. Thanks for watching.